a team which both Gen G and T1 beat, I just think it'd be a real big blow to the confidence for HLE. So they need to bounce back in this series. We've seen the draft start off. Sides have been switched. AL did have side selection game 1 as they were the highest seed.
Yep.
There's now HLE side selection as they lost game 1. And starting off, but you see that Gwen ban maintained, but the Lucian ban coming in instead. So something out of that Vi and that Yone are going to have to be let through. On the other side, we saw the triple jungle bans come through from HLE last time, but they're only keeping the poppies. That Pantheon and that Wukong are going to be available. We'll see what ends up getting denied here. I would think probably the Vi, but then again, if you leave the Vi open, then maybe they just pick,
Pantheon or like...
You can take the Pantheon in response.
I mean, it's a completely different draft from last time, just purely for the fact that Hummer Life had that triple Tarzan ban. Now it's a singular one. Now it's just that poppy that he pilots so well. So, as you said, jungle here is an open book.
And something I will say is that T1 left the Vi open in the Road to MSI series against HLE, and Peanut picked it, and the expectations were huge, and it flopped completely. Yeah. So the Vi has been left open, the Yone has been left open. With a lot of junglers open and available, HLE make the decision to lock in that Yone. Now, this is a humongous pick for Zeka, but it's also something that they could flex to Zeus. Expectation is Zeka's pick, but, you know, still has that possibility. Looking towards AGL, they are looking towards a Pantheon. We've seen a lot of blue side first pick Pantheons. Hesitation, though, as they look instead towards that Sion for Flandre.
Sion with a Pantheon jungle works quite well. AP mid laner, kind of a must, though, but we'll see where they go with that. So they're not worried about taking, like, the Sejuani. Obviously, Trundle's not available to pick into it, so maybe for HLE, that's why Peanut Sejuani rises. But as you said, the Vi or the Wukong are both up. Higher prio jungles. They might not care about the partnership. Instead, rely more on the setup that comes from the jungle role.
Yeah, also, I mean, sometimes we see high priority on the Sejuani to pair up with the Yone, but I think Peanut looking for a jungle heap puts a higher tier on, not opting to go for the Vi that was banned in game 1, going for the Wukong instead. A lot of dive, a lot of teamfight power, but heavy AD so far. Yep. And you got to remember, Gwen is banned, Rumble was taken away because of Fearless in game 1. You know, even options like Aurora that we see top lane taken away.
Yeah, what do you have?
And if you are a heavy AD composition when the enemy team already has a Sion, does make you feel a little bit concerned with how tanky he could end up being. Now, they do end up securing the Rel for Delight, wanting some of that engage power. Their composition is very dive focused already. I think that makes sense given that Rakan and Alistar already taken off the cards to insanely good engage picks that Delight has a lot of proficiency on. But he's also extremely good at Rel. We've seen him have a great Rel performance already at this tournament, so we will lock that in.
Oh, the slam.
Shanks goes for the Akali. What a call out into Zeka, who has an Akali Will's skin.
You were complimenting this guy, though, at MSI. You were saying, like, Shanks had an insane tournament. He pulled off some insane plays on this specific pick as well. So for Shanks, I mean, I have confidence in the pick, but I'm excited. We get Zeka versus Shanks, Akali versus Yone. Again, it could be a flex Yone, but we know it's most likely going Zeka. Let's hold off, though, see where we go next, because Aatrox is the blind ban. AL want to make sure that this Sion has, gets a decent matchup and don't give a free scaling matchup to that of Zeus.
Yeah, Aatrox often does pretty well into the Sion, so denying that one away. We'll see what Zeus ends up picking up in this situation. I also wonder about the AD carry pick, what Viper's going to bring out.
Do you think he pulls out a Ziggs because of their lack of AP? Or what do you think about Ziggs into Sion? I guess is a better question in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's okay, but I think it's pretty uncomfortable here. You know, Harley gives a lot of problems to Ziggs.
True, actually.
Hard to keep up with the mobility, so I don't think it's going to make that much sense in the situation. Could go, I mean, even something like a Kai'Sa, because their comp's very dive focused and it has like the hybrid damage.
Yeah.
They do end up banning the Ziggs though, so they're clearly thinking about that AP damage profile. I do think that the Akali can cause a lot of issues, but Sion specifically is good into because you can never really get off the decimating smash because of the satchel can always just interrupt it. So they opted to eliminate that. Renata taken away, a pick that didn't do super well at MSI, but obviously into this dive-focused engage, we will get rid of it. Take away the Braum. The Nico, though, going to be looked at by anyone's legend. Obviously a great engage pick, but also has that range advantage when you are playing into a melee bot laner.
Let's see where they go. I like the Kai'Sa call out Orcs. It feels like that's like the last option. Again, is there an AP laner you can pull out? Sivir would be a scaling option that could play with that all-in wombo that Hummer Life are building up. but the damage profile makes us question. Final pick. Are there any AP top laners we've missed? Volibear AP? I'm trying to think what goes smoothly into Sion. Or do you just forego it and you just say we can't pull AP in this game?
Maybe just forego it. Could be an option, you know.
Ooh,
looks like
so
they might
top.
put the Yone in the top lane.
Okay, the Yone top.
Go for that Ahri in the mid lane.
There's that AP.
Dive potential from that. And this is the thing, right? You know, one of the reasons the Yone is banned so heavily against HLE is obviously Zek is phenomenal on it, but, you know, it's also a pick that's been huge for Zeus as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that ability to flex. Can obviously prioritize items like Blithering King into Sion as well. Kai'Sa comes through. Kai'Sa and the Nico, really strong duo together, a lot of dive potential. So pretty dive-focused composition with that Sion is a bit of an outlier in terms of a front line. On the side of HLE, high mobility composition, and these comps just feel so explosive on both sides.
Yeah.
And I feel like the skill expression is off the chain, and I feel like both these teams are willing to, you know, we saw it in the last game, they're willing to fight, and these are compositions that reflect that completely. Yeah, I'm just hyped to see how this goes. A very squishy comp, though, I will say, from HLE,
True.
whereas at least AL have that sort of bulkiness in the top lane, but I'm not sure it really matters that much when you're relying on picks like Akali and Pantheon, that mid-jungle, if they fall behind, can feel super underwhelming.
It really can. And for Wukong and Ahri, always a way to force as well. It does feel like the pressure's on for Humble Life. Game 1, got a bit of criticism, you know, running into fights consistently, and every time AL, obviously just in the driver's seat. It sounds like a plain vanilla thing to say, but it is the truth, where AL always look comfortable when they're the ones who are able to force fights. They've got tools to do it again going into Game 2, but as we started off our quarterfinal, we had high expectations of the series, but AL slapped HLE in the face in 25 minutes. One more game's all it takes. They're on match point to move into the semi-finals to versus the winner of T1 versus MKOI. Be one step closer towards that EWC finals, which is a best of 5. Fearless is good. It's put the pump and pressure under both these teams, but we have to see if it's really going to be enough. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to have you here. Orcs is sitting next to me. Not because he wanted to, but because he has to. It's an obligation for him to cast with me. So he's trying to make the best of it.
I can slide a little bit further away, though.
You can if you want.
But I didn't.
He chose not to.
I hope that means something.
To me, yes. To everyone out there, probably not. The keys are in the sky.
Yeah, I do think, you know, the matchup, I think it can be a bit rough for the Yone into the Akali. I think the Ahri is going to have a much more stable time. You know, it can be hard to really get the jump on the Ahri with the amount of mobility you have when you hit level 6, but also just like the charm as a defensive tool.
The Faker skin. Respect.
You know what's funny? This was actually talked about in the LCK.
Yeah.
When we had a lot of Ahri being played, every player in the league, apart from one, used the Faker skin.
And it's Faker who didn't use it,
yeah.
Used skins. I think someone said he played it once. It's probably on release. I don't know when. I don't know if you have context on that, but he never plays skins. And that's that is GOAT behavior. As, oh my God, the giant panda.
Oh my God.
Oh, hey, there it is, Orcs. There it is. We've been looking in the logo in the wrong place. That's cool. There's nothing in the eyes, though. It kind of looks scary. Like,
you know what? That's a throwback. Do you remember the panda costume incident?
Panda, as in Panda C, the player?
No, it was in the LPL. It was when I thought AL would make playoffs, and I said, if they don't make playoffs, I'll cast the first playoff game in the panda costume.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't make playoffs, so that's what happened.
I've got that saved somewhere on my computer, actually. If you can't Google Orcs panda costume chat, you'll have to look at it a different way. DM me, I'll send it to you. It's on my home PC. I've saved it as my desktop.
Wow.
You're next to Odoamne as C-3PO. I got a huge folder.
But I think it goes to show, you know, making bets whether or not they'd make playoffs, and now #1 team in the LPL, how far they've come.
Boy. This is grass matchup, by the way. Just talk individually about what's going on top. So Grass versus Grass, that's getting real dicey up there, but Flash engage, HLE, pull the trigger onto Hope, who goes down to an Ignite. Auto attack by Viper, flashes away, but it's matched. First blood over to Delight. Ain't gonna be Vipers, but he's still more to come. With the remount onto Kale and the Boomerang Blade, a double on Trouble, but the flashing from Tarzan, the redo, and Vipers now down. Tarzan gets a kill, Kyle gets out. All 8 summoners burn from the bottom lane of AL and HLE.
Yeah, so much action already in this game. I feel like we're looking at a top lane battle going on between Zeus and Flandre, but bot lane even more exciting. Delight starting the fight early on with that all-in and managing to catch out Hope. That aggressive play, beautifully executed. A bit unfortunate that they end up backfiring because of the presence of Tarzan, but just lands everything on Hope, and Hope is like in a position where he's pretty sure he's dead, ends up using the flash, but it forces Viper to trade his in return. And then they think they can find another kill, but Tarzan is there to punish. Just a little bit greedy. And the ricochets that came through on the wave, I wonder if that puts the wave in a bad spot.
Oh, that's a good question.
On the back end.
Observers, I wonder, we've got a slow push in bot at least from the looks of it from Viper and Delight.
Yeah, I think it might have slow pushed the wave. So I think Hope is actually going to end up, because look, Viper's actually level 2.
Yeah.
Not even level 3. And Hope is picking up farm and is actually a bit ahead. So I think the ricochets actually kind of went against HLE's favor.
Ooh.
And the wave wasn't in a great spot. So
nice detail, yeah.
In the end of the play, didn't work out too favorably for HLE, despite the good aggression from Delight. That's something he's definitely known for.
It's also Tarzan getting a kill again right last game. Snowball effect on his Zins out. Tarzan was definitely jungle diffing.
Yeah.
I feel like Peanut couldn't really operate much in the fights as Tarzan had so much backline access.
I mean, especially a pick like Pantheon, and I feel like Pantheon's the sort of pick where, you know, especially if you play the game for a long time, you think of like the old Pantheon of how he was like really kind of cheesy but fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
I feel like new Pantheon actually holds his own a lot more in the later stages of the game. But you do kind of need gold for him to function. But like, he actually does so much damage if he has a lead.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're not going to see it now because HLE are going to dive in the reverse. Hope is going to get bopped up, crash down. Nicely done. Turret shot to mean nothing. Delight rooted up for the time being. A couple more autos. Kale needs a bit of a pop, but he won't find it. Peanut cleanly done, and the kill also goes to Viper.
That was beautiful, though. That is the sort of thing you want to see where it's a punish. You take the opportunity when the summoners have been burned. The execution was good as well. Hope was trying to pull away from the tower. Moves back in because he wants them to have tower aggro, but unfortunately not quite enough damage done to be able to finish off the support of HLE.
Boy, all in. Zekka's actually got ulti, though, so he should be fine. Doesn't make it over the wall, but away from Tarzan is the main thing.
Yeah.
Shanks does not have perfect execution yet.
This is the sort of gank where it's very non-committal from Tarzan. It costs very little just to walk in mid.
Yeah.
And you get the ult from Zekka, you relieve a little bit of pressure. Zekka was never dying there, but you force a cooldown. So, you know, Tarzan just getting something done. But you can see the matchup in the mid lane going in favor of Zekka here, having that range versus melee matchup and having the advantage there.
If AL win this tournament, if they win EWC, will you wear a panda costume again? For all of us to see?
You know what? I will.
Okay. I'm happy to reciprocate if, like, you want, you know, for, like, HLE or... I just don't know what I would wear.
If HLE win the tournament, you have to wear, like, an orange costume.
Okay. Like an orange, like the fruit.
Yeah, and you have to lift weights while you're doing it. Because that's, you know, their remote. It's like an orange lift weight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You have to like, lift weights in a big orange costume.
All right. Yeah, production can start sorting that out.
I feel like that's a pretty even bet, you know? Because if I said, like, you have to do this if Gen G won, I feel like that's pretty unfair because they're, like, quite hard to
That's right. But HLE right now, you know, in a bit of a dangerous spot. Maybe it's even unfair to set up AL, but who knows?
Gen G and
T1 are in the tournament. AL just got a 5-game series by T1, so I think that is fair. All right, we've made a deal. Whoever the person was in the crowd who has the panda suit, can you please share? Maybe a wash before, I don't know, but we'll get that over to Orcs as soon as possible. We'll have to maybe buy it from them. Still couldn't find that photo, Orcs, but that's okay. We'll lock in for a little bit. Peanuts on Dragon. Now, off that bottom side gank, there was a bit of a swap, and the swap was for the bot lane of AL getting out of the 2v2. Viper also has a 400 gold lead, so I understand why, but I think with the back now, you're looking at Hope probably going towards bot, going towards mid for now, just to fish for who's in what lane. But as Peanut picks up this dragon, he's going to be first dragon of the game. Over to HLE.
Yep, summoners are back up for AL's bot lane, so a little bit safer on the back of those. We're good to get that first early dragon from HLE. I feel like they were on the back foot in terms of objectives for a while. We see Shanks matching up into theirs, though, and this is the matchup really that AL wanted. The Kali into that Yone.
It's cinema, isn't it?
It is, but also a little bit uncomfortable, I feel like, for the Yone.
Yep.
The ability to follow when he uses that Unbound Soul.
Charm, flash, immediately under Zeka. Look at the Tangle Bar fall off as well. Zeka ulties, but not in time. Tarzan takes him out in a brisk walk, and that's beautiful from Tarzan again.
Layered CC so good, and Zeka thinks he's got a good trade there onto the enemy support, but baited in beautifully with the chain CC from that stun, the flash W. And no real recourse right now. You can see some pings coming out on the bot lane. Andre, though, hard to see if they could kill him. Maybe if he overextends, but I don't think they're going to find an angle. So it's just 3 grubs for AL on the back of that play.
Also opens up top a bit because a reset comes through in the meantime from Zeus. No TP, has to walk up. So maybe a couple of minions denied.
That's 2 kills now for Tarzan.
It's big, isn't it? As you said, the Pantheon has the goal to kind of escalate this game. I said it earlier, and I think to really drill it into people's heads, like Tarzan is reliable with the lead, I find. That's what makes him such a good jungler. He's moldable. You know, we talked in the past, like LPL junglers, like I think Cask was a great example where Cask was always just what called like a dog to his laners. He would always just follow after, such great players. I think Tarzan is a great player in his own right. He can be the carry, or he can, help Shanks carry, he can help Flandre carry. He's so versatile.
Yeah, I feel like you could have just cut that sentence short and just said Tarzan is reliable.
Yeah, but I wanted people to really know how passionate I was about him.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Peanut's the GOAT in that regard as well. Like,
I think Peanut's had some hit or misses. I feel like recently, especially in that recent run of their form not being so hot. I think Peanut has had some matches where he hasn't really shown up. Peanut at his best is obviously still a fantastic player, but it definitely feels like at times he's been better as a facilitator rather than as an individual carry. He has still had some fantastic games, but I mean, a big example, the one I brought up earlier was a bye game against T1 was a big flub. So, he is on that Wukong. We've seen the Wukong have some high impact games. Hopefully he can get the ball rolling a little bit. Is behind right now compared to Tarzan, but I feel like it's different when it's a jungle matchup. If the enemy jungler's ahead, you don't necessarily have to interact with them.
True.
But do you want to see, especially now he has that ultimate available, see what impact he can find with that.
Looking trades down bot while Zeka all in, perfect execution. Ulti Adam response, Shuriken Flip doesn't connect, and that's 2 down of the ulti from Zeka. Spirit Rush will just be used eventually anyway. Shanks gets over the wall, and yeah, it's ulti for ulti.
Yep. I mean, it's one of these things where you go for the play. If you can land the Shuriken Flip, that's why it becomes really scary for the Ahri. But it just ends up being a trade. Pushing for plays, and I feel like that's kind of been the story of this mid lane matchup we saw last game as well. Now, though, Peanut looking bot. Flandre just have ult and flash.
He wants to wave in, but he can't step up as Peanut's coming in. But the biggest question is he killable, right? Because Thornmail first. Flandre is going to reduce healing, and with the armor stacked up, I think they're like, maybe
I don't think
Blade.
he is, because Tarzan has ult. So it's not just the fact that you have to kill him. You have to kill him before the 2-0 Tarzan with Sundered guy shows up. Because if he arrives, you lose that fight. So I think Peanut rethinks whether or not he wants to start that and disengage. And, I was talking before about how you don't necessarily have to interact with the enemy jungler. When it's a Pantheon, maybe you do.
True. You're forced to, right? And Zeus, a bit of healing up from Bam Scepter. Tarzan also rethinking whether he wants to make this dive happen. There's pings going down like, hey, Delight's MIA, and the pings are actually right on where Delight's position was at the time, if you could see on your minimap.
Yeah, good read. It's just cool to see the sort of thought process of the players, and they're like, hey, we might put set up play.
Yeah.
And then, you sometimes get moments like this when on paper it looks like nothing's really happening, but you actually see that they were trying to go for something, and then, a bit of information they got sort of spooked them, and opting not to just overcommit and have it backfire. The tempered aggression.
Still hovering in case something happens with Flandre. Flandre 500 stacks, by the way, so that's not bad.
He's going to be very tanky this game.
Oh, yes, he is. And we talked about it in draft, right? The problem was originally there wasn't really much AP damage. Or there wasn't any AP damage.
Yeah,
but with Ahri, are you still worried about that? Because Ahri
is not really that great for tank shredder. I mean, it's one of these things where, like, Sion obviously gets super tanky.
Yep.
But I feel like eventually you get to the point where you get like armor, like you get shred, right? You get like pen. So like there will come a point in the game where you can shred to him, but like is that point in the game gonna actually come? Because I think Sion really in the mid game is where he's so strong. Before like you know when Viper's 4 or 5 items gets to full build, especially when you know AD carries and pro have more economy than like a tank top laner will.
Yep.
When Viper's full build, he will be able to cut through Flandre. It might take some time, but he will cut through him.
Even Zayas in side lanes with Blade and maybe, I don't know if he goes Mortal Reminder later as like a 3rd, 4th item.
Maybe like yeah. But in the mid game, that is where it just kind of feels like you have to devote so much time to kill Flandre.
Yep.
It feels impossible. And especially Sion, who just has so much extra free health, is really hard to cut through.
True.
You know, that raw health in the mid game is just such a strong stat.
I've also I've enjoyed Flandre in a lot of his team fights, both MSI and in the last game as well. Talk about a reliable top laner. Well, no further. So that mid game is going to be punishing, going to be powerful. We'll see what he's heading towards second as HLE are gearing up for the second Dragon. Sitting there watching. Dragons this game a little bit more delayed than you would expect as Peanut picked up the first one, but they've sat on this for a while as Flandre doesn't really have prior, but Tarzan's coming in.
Yeah, we did see Shanks just hit level 11, so this Carly's going to be strong.
Yeah. TP in from Zeka. He doesn't have level 11, so worth a mention. At 2k, Tarzan wants a Q Smiter, but Kael comes in, pops the Blossom, dies for it. As a steal in the Ocean Drake is good now for AL. How does the fight look? There's an exhaust onto Shanks who tries to jump in onto Peanut, looking for the 5-point strike, finds it in the end, and jumps back. Smooth criminal. He runs out as a flash away from Hope to get out from the Zayas ulti. Flandre tanking up for now. He's not really that beefy, but he manages to survive with the Pantheon ulti. Jumping over 3, Tarzan has taken the fight into new hands, but again, no one's dying. AL playing on the brim and Humble Life know it. A double over to Hope, he dies. Eventually Shanks jumps in, but it's not enough. AL somehow, some way, found a way to survive on 200 HP every bloody carry.
Such beautiful team fighting from AL there, using their health bars as a resource, the in and out, going in aggressively, but just never too much. So many people escaping with just slithers of health there. And it made all the difference, you know, able to clean up that fight in the end. And we see it starts off with this flank attempt. IKL here with the Nico. Does manage to land onto Peanut. Viper does avoid it. But he's instantly targeted. Tarzan does steal the Dragon. And then we see this play. Peanut's chased down upon. Shanks uses the Shuriken flip so he can finish him off and then disengage. And it feels like HLE very much in the back foot. Zeus looks for Hope, but it's a great flash. They do almost finish off Flandre, but the shield comes in and look, because it's a fed Pantheon, he's so confident to go in with his ult, and the ult actually gets a lot of AoE damage here.
Holy. That's like a 600 damage Pantheon ult.
Yeah, and then the E there as well buys so much time, flashes from the charm. This buys space for Hope to go in, who manages to disengage with the barrier X, does end up going down, but then it buys space for the rest of the team.
Take you off.
And it just feels like, other than Hope going down there, the rest of them just able to shrug it off and survive for so long.
Again, Hope, great flash, good damage, but after that fight, he said it so well, Orcs, they were playing with their health bar as a resource so damn much. And it comes out the back of the fight where Tarzan still has a huge lead in this game, and Akali who picked up a kill, Shanks as well.
It is still close though, and I will say,
it is mega close though.
Viper was pumping damage that fight. He is 3-1. When he starts to get items, this could be a very different fight, because you think about everyone on AL is short range.
Yeah.
This Sivir will get a huge amount of ricochet value, just shredding through targets. And I think as the game goes on, if you can't deal with Viper, he is going to be a problem.
True. I mean, again, as we talk about HLE in this game, note that their Dragon stacking would have provided a better outlet for them to get some of those fights. For Viper to have them all in one spot. Dragon a little bit delayed now because of the take from AL, as Herald is now the thought process, but Viper's going to look for push mid. It is movement from Peanut to walk up towards this top side of the map, as Herald hasn't really started yet.
Yeah, I also think this is a game where it's very difficult to push the pace forwards for AL because you're into a Sivir with so much wave clear, and you are a short-range comp.
Yeah.
It can be quite tricky to see.
Really
so
good point.
A lot of focus is going to be on these neutral objectives, because often that is kind of the modern game of League of Legends, where these neutral objectives force fights, force the pace of the game forward. So, you know, AL need to be crisper around these objectives and also using them to push the pace forward. So right now they're in a good spot, 1,000 gold lead, right? A lot of that is on this Pantheon, but Tarzan's been having a phenomenal performance so far.
But he needs to keep the pace up. Next objective is still that Herald. Dragon up in a minute 20 though. Quite interesting, it's already coming back up. 5 minutes goes fast when you're having fun.
I mean, just look at Flandre's health bar. He just looks... It just does not look fair.
Yeah. With Merc Treads as well. Charm, Shattering Strike. Yeah, it's not really going to do much, is it? So let's see. That Dragon seems to be the next port of call because Herald's second guess. Tarzan's doing his full clear, probably so that he can get himself maybe that Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
Before they fight next. But we'll have to see because might end up being an ulti depending on how quickly he clears his wolves.
I mean, it's a Mountain Soul as well, by the way. So.
Yeah. Oi, oi. Do not let AL get Mountain Soul.
Yeah, that would not be a fun time. And it's not even just a Mountain Soul, but like any Mountain Dragons.
Yeah.
It's just going to extend. You know, I talked about how eventually, like, if Viper gets full build, he will be able to cut through Flandre, but it just becomes so much more difficult if he gets those extra resistances.
True.
It kind of puts, it just delays it more and more how many items, because, you know, I said like maybe like 4 items might be it, might push it back to 5. Or might just buy a bit of extra time, like an extra second or two, an extra auto attack can make all the difference.
CP though, hang on.
They are looking.
Yeah, but Flandre, his back just got cancelled again. Every time Zace is cancelling it, so it's going to be a 4v4 for Pop Blossom after the Herald draws in Tarzan. He finds a kill onto Peanut, who immediately dies, and he didn't get to pick up the eye. The eye stands there staring at AL. Hope though charmed out. Really nice with the Magnus Storm as well. The damage isn't enough. Flash away. Hope is out for now as Viper. He's starting to auto attack with the Flicker Blade. He's feeling more confident. Zaze finally teleported in. Tarzan though blocks all the damage. In with a penny, in with a pound. Zayas drops to the ground. Tarzan up next looking for Viper. And he doesn't die, Orcs. His fed Pantheon is just not dropping.
Even those big charms still not able to find the kills, and I feel like it must be so frustrating for HLE not able to finish off these key targets. They don't get the Herald as well, not able to pick it up there. I think maybe that should be the protocol after they got that first initial burst of damage down. Tarzan's still alive, heads straight over to the Dragon to pick that one up. And I think they're fine with the Herald going down, they're not being the recipients because they got the bigger boon.
It's crazy that, again, that no eye was picked up and the Dragon going over for AL. It's a massive win. It's 2K gold lead. It's replay time again because they thought they had hope. Great charm, great follow-up.
Yeah, it's a good charm, but Tarzan stunning Viper, stopping the follow-up from him means the Hope's able to survive. And then I think maybe they could have pushed for the Herald, but instead they go for this fight. Zayas lands a big ult. But Tarzan, the Sundered Sky and just the bulkiness he has keeps him alive. They're able to take out Zayas in the back end. Yeah, feels like a tilter.
Oh God, 3 and a bit K damage.
He's just doing so much.
He really
in these
is.
Fights.
Both games now. The reason he's the driving force of AL. Atakan's up, by the way. Bot side, you see it. But HLE are moving into position. Ward control right now really heading towards AL.
But you know, last game they did the Hail Mary Atakan. It's not at that point yet.
It kind of helped lose the game for HLE, excuse me. Won the game for AL, I should have said. As Peanut's still going. They're still tanking this, but AL are slowly moving in.
We'll see what they can do. It's so easy for Pantheon to steal these as well.
And he's going to fly in at 4.5k. Jumps in. Pop Blossom as well. All AoE Paradise at 2.5k. We look towards the Atakan and Starzan. It's finally charmed over and finally dead. Zayas helped with that one. And he also got them the Atakan. The top laner for HLE comes up clutch. 3 are dead for it. But they got Tarzan. I guess it's an emotional worth.
You know, I honestly think that HLE will take that because that could have been so much worse in this situation. They're able to get the shutdown onto Tarzan, getting that massive amount of gold. They got the Atakan. Yes, they lost 3, but considering how bad the game state was, could have been on the back of them losing a fight there.
Yeah. I
think he'll take it, but that was scrappy. That was not controlled. The Nico ult value here is pretty massive. Catching out both the Light and the Wukong. And Wukong just gets deleted. And then it's up to Zayas, who manages to focus onto Tarzan here and actually see who got the kill, it was Viper. That's huge,
1100 gold.
And then Zeus clutching it, grabbing it in the middle of 3, able to pick up the Arakan. And, I mean, they just got away with murder.
You got to say, like, even though HLE are down in the dirt a little bit, there's still that star power coming up clutch with a charm as well. Crash down easy. Kale's dead. Zeka is hitting after hit.
I mean, this is... HLE are such a vibes team.
They are.
And
but ALR as well, that's what everyone was excited for in this series. It's a shame it's only a best of 3, because I feel like the vibes will only go stronger the longer this goes.
Yeah, I mean, but now we have the situation where Viper has 3 items, has that LDR in pocket. It's a very tanky Sion still. He doesn't have the IE yet, so it'll still take a lot of time to cut through, but there's a huge influx of gold for the 80 carry. The team gold is about even. It was feats of strength for HLE. They did get the Arakan buff. They're actually now ahead in gold, so... You know, I guess it worked. You just get,
it worked.
You know, when in doubt, just start Arakan.
Yep.
And I think we can say that 50% of the time, it works every time.
Every time. And that 1k gold for Viper, that 1100, has accelerated. If you already talked about it, the 3rd item, and maybe in the long run they'll say it's worth. Maybe with Baron coming up, they'll say it's worth. I mean, 3rd Dragon rather for AL. That's the next fight, it feels like, because if they give away those stats that you talked about, more stats over to Flandre, it does feel like the stall gets a little bit longer here for AL. And then that Sivir maybe gets mitigated a little bit longer as well. Let's see. 3 items for her already. We mentioned Viper. I'm looking across the board. Hope's a little bit behind. 2 item Akali, 2 items Zeka here, who's got a lot of burn through things like tanks. Comes down to this next 45 seconds and setup ensuing.
Yeah, and you don't want to give any more Mountain Dragons over. I think now is a position where HLE, more than they have for a long while, can feel confident to fight. You know, even like Peanut, who's been so far behind the curve, like he's 1-3-1 compared to Tarzan's 5-1-5, but you look at the items and not that much in it in comparison. Just component difference between the two. So the Stride Breaker picked up as well for Zeus. Able to equal things out between him and Flandre. And these fights are explosive, chaotic as well. See how the execution comes down here. Viper gonna get this mid priority. With that Sivir just able to shred through those waves.
That's something about the Stride Breaker when there's a lot of sticking power when you're playing short range. For Zeus, we might see it in action soon as AL move themselves over a ward. A bit of poke to bully them out while Hope looks for this outer in bot side. Flandre covering mid. Baron's now up. Dragon's now up. It's a fight over objectives. It's a pincer maneuver. Delight has to crush down. Viper not going to be caught out. He spell shields, not too much, but even with the Tangle Barbs, Delight now looking to recover the fight. Peanut looking for an angle for Hummer Life to continue the series. It comes down to this. A pop blossom for Peanut. He's isolated. He's dead. He's caught out as Flandre. Now a new target. He flashes away, but the charm doesn't connect. He's buying as much time as possible. Eventually, Orbit Deception would have killed him, but he doesn't get hit. Over the wall, it's flying in. It's Tarzan hitting them all. Both junglers have now entered. Orcs, vibe check. 3 versus 3 in this fight. Flandre had to back away. He's got teleport to rejoin, and HLE are on the wrong side.
It's so scary still, and the fact that Sion's going to be able to rejoin on full HP is a big threat. Shanks is looking.
Trying to bait it out. It's only the clone. Shanks has a shuriken flip to go back to the Shroud, but HLE, even at half HP, he won't take it. On a knife swim as HLE don't start anything up in the top side. Instead, teleport's going to come through from Delight, but Dragon's being soloed by Hope.
Peanut is back up though and heading over.
Hello. Blunder's going to zone control. Delight shattering strike. Hope pulls off the Dragon for now. Second skin passive. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on! Viper just walks up and takes it. Simple as you like.
The confidence of HLE.
Get off your phone! HLE are coming back, get off your phone!
HLE able just to walk in and take it away. Again, chaotic fights. It looked like AL had that one in the bag, able to pick up Peanut at the start, but the kite back was so big. The fact that Flandre survived, I thought was going to be the breaking point. They are able to start to cut through him with that LDR. But the kite back, and I think Zeka's charms, that charm he got onto Tarzan as he landed, was flawless and didn't give any chance, you know. It feels like the Pantheon is so tanky if you can play around his E, but when you're CC'd before you get it off, just went down so quickly.
Cold as neck and neck. Dragons neck and neck. Baron the only thing that stands in their way. Both junglers ran it into the enemy team. And it comes down, I keep saying it comes down to 1-5, but it really doesn't, does it? It feels like we'll be going to the Journey to Soul. As GA is soon to be picked up by Tarzan. He's got that gold advantage, so that might be the big difference maker. Seeker's here, another tool for Shanks. Orcs, I know you like talking about summoners while I'm looking through items here. Those flashes I'm seeing on AL's side at least, mostly up and available, apart from Flanders and Kyle's.
Yep. I feel like in this one, less important,
yeah.
I feel like, for, you know, I think it's the biggest one for me is Vipers.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I think Viper having sums is the biggest thing, especially when you're playing against stuff like Nikali.
True.
I think he is pumping out so much damage now.
Flash.
Yeah, he does have his flash. He is the main character for HLE, you got to feel. Doesn't quite have that IE, he's going to have that soon. Once he gets that, he will just shred. And if he's able to free hit, it might just be game over for AL in these fights. But they have a lot of tools to try and get access to him. We see both teams setting up posturing around the Baron. Flandre is on that front line, but they might just look to focus him, honestly, if Zeka lands a charm.
The Tangle Barb stopped Delight from finding an engage. Flandre is able to walk it out, but the perma wave clear.
The thing is, it's not just a wave clear, but also if you stand near the wave, if it's clearing it, you get shredded.
Yeah.
So it's the zoning and the wave clear.
Predict. Zayas looking for Shanks in the Shroud. Some good damage now. This Yone also starting to tickle a little bit. Peanut looking for the dive, but a control ward from Tarzan. Spots him out. Tarzan with a level lead here over enemy junglers. HLE are looking for that pick, but every time it's a clone. Tarzan zoning out while Baron is still cleared of vision, and AL have to trickle in to find themselves an angle of attack.
Honestly, so much value from the Nico just being able to scout with the clone.
Yeah, that really is.
And just throwing it in constantly so you don't have to face check yourself. Especially as, you know, obviously Flandre is quite tanky, but even him, if he walks into a charm, he'll go down a lot faster than he would have 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Protobelt use Shanks is not overstepping his mark. There's actually pings in the alcove. Really smart from AL, spotting out what HLE want to do here. I mean, Delight on his rel has made game-making plays many times before and will many times again. Peanut clears out the last of vision from AL. Baron is still staring them in the face, but remember that dragon, it's been long enough that in a minute 45, we had that discussion again for third drag for either team.
Yeah, you know, I feel like the focus very much towards the Baron, but I'm not sure we're going to see it started up before that dragon spawns. You get the unending despair coming through for Flandre. Is very tanky. And now AL trying to find, moving in through the top side of the river, trying to find a way in. Light does not want to face check this, but we'll get the Pop Blossom thrown out. We'll sort of warn him. And it looks like a lean towards our top lane tower. Quite late for it to go down.
And these outers for
it's actually
HLE.
the first tower of the game for AL.
Isn't that crazy to survive this long?
Yeah, considering how far ahead AL were in this game, but I think just showing how much difficulty they have really taking these towers to their composition.
Yeah. As you said, the small range, fighting them a little bit here. And for AL, they do get control of this blue side of jungle, which means Baron looks a little bit easy. It's going to be started off, and Hope has great on hit permanent fear. On a ward, you're right, that recall may be hurting. Zeka has to walk up. He doesn't want to TP until now.
And Delight doesn't have Smite with Spellbook. They will force them back.
Shanks on an angle as well. Flandre found out Zeka wants him, but instead Shanks has found himself onto Peanut. Cyclone captures him midway as Tarzan used the Grand Starfall to get near, but that's a couple of ultis now burned out for the fact that they found Viper.
Yeah, I mean, trying to find Peanut in that situation. The ult, though, interrupting the dash, though, I think was really critical there from Peanut. He was trying to rush over, make his way there to try and ward them off. Such a tense game, and even more so for HLE. AL have an extra chance after this. HLE do not. And they're constantly threatening this Baron. They know with the Kai'Sa with these items does shred it fast. There is a ward on it, though. They have full information off this.
But teleport's getting burned. They look towards mid. Flandre is just going to ulti in. Zayas on the way. That TP in front of a Yone. Shanks now finds him, though. Great damages. He zones him off at 5k before anyone can get in. Peanut looking for the steal. The steal. The miracle steal. It's Peanut and a Baron. It's HLE stealing it away.
And Tarzan has had Peanut's number all game, and here he slides in, takes the Baron, drops the Mapingu, and walks away to the Mountain Drake. Answers back. He's got to feel good about that one. 6-2-5 to Tarzan, 1-4-1 to Peanut, but when it comes down that clutch moment, Peanut answers back.
It's big to get the third dragon alongside it as well. HLE moved to soul point, and he literally just walked in here and bonked for the smite steal.
And, you know, you obviously can combo the damage of the Q and the smite, but it's hard into the Pantheon because that Q smite with the full stacks
is huge.
It does a lot of damage. He's good at securing objectives, so just well played there from Peanut, especially when normally the person whose team is on the Baron is syncing up with the teammates. I know they were trying to sync. Oh,
there is a GA on Tarzan. Zeus is being chunked out a little bit, but Tarzan getting chunked out even more so. Great tangle bars from KL, saves the play. Tarzan and GA might have been run down as Viper's running up into Shanks, and the ricochets are tickling. More than that with an Infinity Edge here on Viper. HLE, the priority is on them for game number 2. As Shanks looks to defend that top tier 1, another tier 1 that stays standing.
Yeah, I mean, Viper's doing so much damage at this point. But do you see the Tangle Bobs? It lasts so long if it's hitting you after it's passed through a target. But they'll just shred through these towers. We do see a response from AL in the mid lane, taking that tier 1, but HLE are not stopping the top side, and they're happy to have Zeus defend mid while he just have that TP to join.
Zek also has a flanking angle onto Shanks, finds him, but no charm. Orb Deception in, but that's it. Zekka's ulti is now down, but Shanks is chunked out. That opens up for the inner turret, and with the enhanced recalls, HLE are going to call it there.
Yep, sync up the recalls together. Everyone gets out. They got 2 towers on the top side. They still have time on the Baron. They can reset, head towards the bottom side of the map, and maybe look to pick up an inner tower there if they have time. But yeah, now this gold lead, it's not huge, but there is a lead in favor of HLE, about 2,000. But I think the significant thing is just at this point of the game, how strong this Sivir is. BF Sword picked up for Viper, likely going towards a Bloodthirster. He is doing insane damage, and I don't think Flandre feels too tanky anymore at this point.
That ulti down now as well. New angles open up. HLE still have themselves 33 seconds for the Baron buff too, as well as taking away all the jungle from bot. They're going to move into this inner turret, and Flandre doesn't have an ult for a re-engage. We're going to get a real little taster of what Viper does with ricochets here. Through the wave at the very least. Flandre's not going to give it to us, but inner goes down regardless with 15 seconds left on the Baron buff.
Shanks looking for a big flank, though. This could be something.
He's going to come on a ward eventually. Len's going to be spotted out, but KL's caught out before the fight can begin. Getting out with Protobelt is nice, but look at the back of the fight. Shanks now jumping in and onto Viper. He had no GA. Zeus jumping in with Peanut, but again, watch Shanks into close quarters. It's big, but Zeus is carrying the rest of it with Magnusol from Delight as well. It's a mosh pit, and AL don't seem to be liking it with Zeus running amok. He's at low HP. Shanks eventually takes him down. Hum alive. They played on the edge of this one, but Shanks somehow did not die. I feel like AL got away with a massacre there that HLE started to bring back.
Such a beautiful angle there from Shanks, just cleaned up Viper immediately, and without that DPS, without that damage, you know, Zekka and Zeus tried so hard but didn't have to follow through. The team fight goes in favor of AL, and this game still has more to show.
Cannot believe HLE of Zeus was frying in the middle of 5 people. When they say put the fries in the bag, like, that's a big bag. But Shanks in the end, you're right. We're going to look at a replay shortly, don't worry. Outer turret goes down, and all Outers now down on Summoner's Rift. That fight was crazy.
And I think HLE were just in a bit of a rush, right? They knew they didn't have much time left on the Baron. They're like, we want to get this tower. They didn't do the setup, they didn't do the homework, didn't have the ward coverage. And they jumped onto Kyle, and I think that was the mistake because, you know, you focus so much resources onto this Nico. The Nico wasn't the problem. The Nico wasn't a threat. There was nothing left to peel the Sakali who came around the side.
Sure.
And as soon as he reached Viper, there was just nothing Viper could do. And now Viper Flash Plus going in the next fight. Yeah, just immediately deletes.
Oh, look how much time he buys.
Yeah, I mean, that Stasis as well was so good. Would have just gone down, I think, Josea's there without it. Oh. Like, this actually did so much there.
He really did, yeah.
And it just wasn't quite enough against Shanks.
In a game that has Zekka in it, it's so funny that he's neither the Yone nor the Akali, but...
Look at the team fight damage, you know?
It's Tarzan, man. I'm surprised. It wasn't that much on Shanks, but he was just cleaning up.
He was just cleaning up. You know, he was just finishing off the targets. That's what he needs to do. Crazy how much Tarzan is still doing on this Pantheon.
Yeah.
This pick still holding up in the late stages. But now, setting up for this Mountain Dragon would be sold for HLE. Remember, no flash on Viper is super significant.
You're right. That barrier almost up and available to give him a bit of breathing room, but still, ulti's all that remains for now. Viper has a GA, though. Last fight, he only sat on the BF sword. Now he has everything. Delight maybe caught out as a clone. Gets between their way. Tarzan sends a spear. His Comet from afar. Shanks, his flank will be met with Zeka. Looking for him. The charm max range. Orb of deception as well. But the damage not enough. Protobelt, wow. Already that much damage coming out of this little Akali as Flandre zoning off. He has the ulti. Delight in the way, Pantheon on, but the Pop Blossom layers down. Hope jumps in. Tarzan flies through. Shanks in the backside running in. He's going to go golden, but HLE have obliterated anyone's legend. All in the span of 10 seconds. HLE keep their dreams alive.
And that's the late game Sivir. They put AL into a blender and they take them to game 3. They just shredded them there. A 5-0. They're going to take the Nexus, and this series going all the way.
All to 3 games in Fearless. We get a treat. Our start of our quarterfinals delivers, and HLE play their comp to perfection.
That one was tense. That one was tense. You know, they finished the game with a kill deficit. That kind of shows how it went. And Tarzan on this Pantheon doing so much work. Viper pumping the damage. But even then, I feel like the whole of the team had to come together.
We're going to go to a short break when we return our final game, our elimination game here at the EWC quarterfinals for League of Legends.